but you'll have a new assignment on top of it. But I guess we won't go over anything new. But so just be on the lookout for that. With that said, let me just get right into it so I can make sure we get through what we need to get through. All right. So we're starting a new chapter and we're going over exponent rules. And the first thing that we're going to be talking about is a product of powers. And what that means is right here. So if you're taking notes, you might want to write this down right here. And all this is saying is when we're multiplying expressions with the same base being the b here, right? It could be anything. Usually it's x or y or z, right? If they're the same thing, then when you multiply them, you add their exponents. And there's a reason for that, right? And we have this rule b to the m times b to the n equals b to the m plus n. That's just saying that, right? Except in math terms, right? So, maybe if we add x to the third times x to the fourth, we end up, since these are the same base, we end up adding those exponents and we get x to the seventh. Now, why does that happen? Well, remember what something squared means, right? If you have something squared, that means times itself. If you have it cubed, then that means times itself 3 times, and so on, right? So if I have x cubed, well, if I have x cubed, that's going to be x times x times x, right? And then we're multiplying that by x to the fourth, or x times x times x times x, right? X to the third means x times itself 3 times. X to the fourth means x times itself 4 times. All together, we have x times itself 7 times. And so that's why we add these exponents. I know a lot of people, they want to multiply them, but you just need to think about how, like, what's actually happening, right? You'll have x times x times x multiplied by another 4 x's, right? So altogether, you'll have 7 of them multiplied by itself. And so we just have examples that we can go through. B to the fourth times b to the fifth. Well, we just add their exponents, and that can be b to the ninth, right? 4 plus 5 is 9. And if you need to split it up, you could say this. You could say, well, it's b to the 4 plus 5, if that helps you, or b to the ninth. Yeah, what's up? It is expected that you go. Oh, today? Today is third and fourth hour and then an open block. Then don't go to a fourth hour. For this one, x to the 6th times x to the 7th, we have the same base. And so we're just going to add their exponents. That'll be x to the 5 6x's and then 7x's all together. There's going to be 13 multiplied together. These are easy enough. Now, when we have ones like this, remember what's in between all of these multiplication. This is 4 times x to the 6th times -5 times x to the 7th. And when I multiply, I can multiply in any order, right? 4 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 4. It doesn't matter. And so every single time, I'm always going to do the numbers first. So 4 times -5 is going to give me -20. Right? And then I'm going to do the x's. X to the 6th times x to the 7th. Well, we just did that. That's x to the 13th. You add the exponents, right? So all together, we get -20 x to the 13th. So I just do the numbers first, and then I match the bases, right? So since this is an x and this is an x, those are the ones I'm multiplying together. And when I'm multiplying, right, there's multiplication in between all of this. When I'm multiplying, I add the exponent. 6 plus 7 is 13. Okay, now this one, again, I'm going to do the numbers first. -3 times -8, maybe I'll write this one out. I'll do the numbers first, -3 times -8, and then I'll do the t times t cubed after, right? So -3 times -8 is going to be a positive. Negative times negative is positive. 8 times 3 is 24. And now t times t cubed, that's t times itself 4 times, right? Because this is really an invisible t to the first. 1 plus 3 is 4. Okay, this one, now we have multiple things going on, right? But again, I can multiply in any order I want, so I'm going to do the 4 times 10 first, and then I can multiply that, and I'll put the x's together, and then I can put the y's together. Oops, and I missed a number in there, didn't I? Y to the fourth times y to the sixth. There's also a multiplication by 3 in here, and so I can put that with the 4 and 10. So I have 4 times 3 times 10, 4 times 3 times 10. I put the x's together and the y's together. I personally don't like writing it out like this. I think it actually makes more sense to just go to the end. 4 times 3 is 12, times 10 is 120, or if you did that here, you'd get the same thing, right? And then x to the third times x squared, we're adding the exponents, so x to the fifth. Y to the fourth times y to the sixth is going to be y to the 10th. Adding the exponents. Right, and then just one more example to get through. And just because there's not parentheses doesn't mean anything, right? There's still multiplication in between all of these. -10 times 9 is going to be -90. X to the third times x is going to give me x to the fourth. Remember, there's an invisible x to the first there. And then that y squared, don't freak out because there's no other y's. Times y squared, we just leave that there, right? There's no other y's, so nothing changes. We just leave it as y squared. And that's all.